Well, we knew it was going to happen. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Greg Townsend, please just get out. Please leave. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Simbin 6 podcast. I am the happiest Scotland supporter, Billy North Lewis, and joining me today is, yet again, Joseph Terry, who will try and give some joy in the podcast. Joe, how you doing?
Doing well after seeing the English absolutely hammer the Welsh at Twickenham, and also seeing everybody's favourite second team, Italy, beat the Scottish, which I'm always happy about.
Do you want me to leave? Do you want me to leave the podcast? God.
Usually we talk about Italy leaving Six Nations, not Scotland. But if you want that discussion, we can have it soon.
It's just, I mean, all I can say is, what an opening round of the Six Nations. I know not all teams have been fantastic, but for just in general, I think it was just completely unexpected. France absolutely thrashing Ireland and Italy beating Scotland, which I did say would happen. I knew we weren't going to do particularly well in that game. And England thumping Wales, it was just another day in the office for Wales and just more work for Steve Tandy. And I mean, did you see one of Wales Online's recent videos of Welsh fans walking out with 25 minutes left to go? It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
2019, you just wouldn't see it.
That video is extraordinary because I think we are very close to serious crisis of confidence moment for Welsh rugby that might be generational. And that's at club level, that's at the national level, that's at youth level, that's in the academies, that's in the regions that aren't as well served, in North Wales, in Gogledd Cymru. That's everywhere. It is, and the women's game as well, to a point with me even Brython's Thunder doing rightly Celtic Challenge, but Wally are really, really struggling. I mean, it is generational decline, and it's going to take a generation to get out of it. And I think that spell in the England-Wales match, when reduced to 13, you've lost your hooker and your loose head in the space of about 90 seconds. Was it close to that? I think it was.
Pretty much.
90 seconds real time, about 30 seconds actually in play for consistent infringements inside the red zone. Totally valid yellow cards. And if you ask me, probably should have had more yellow cards after the fact if that's going to be a precedent you set that early on in the tie. Was it 15 or so minutes into the game? But just that sums it up. It's just a total lack of discipline and a total lack of oomph. I mean, even in the front row where we thought, maybe they can get a few piecemeal scrum victories because the England front three aren't as experienced. And even then they're getting steamrolled by guys that have got barely any caps, combined caps in front row of, was it 15 or 20 or something?
I think so, yeah.
Nowhere near the experience that you should be being beaten by.
It's honestly mad. And just, I think the 4 yellow cards was adding rubbing salt to the wound, pretty much, of just what's already a battered Welsh side. And also, what was more insulting, Lewis Rees-Zammit at fullback? Really? Please don't ever. That's like saying we're going to put Blair Kinghorn back at 10. Because if I'm being honest, I don't rate Kinghorn as a 10, but this is more about Lewis Rees-Zammit. It was a disaster. Whose idea was it? Because surely it can't be like Steve. It surely can't be Steve Tandy's idea, because I actually do think Steve Tandy, he's a good coach. I do think he's actually decent, and I think Wales are very fortunate to have someone like him. And just the decision to have Rees-Zammit at fullback, I don't know what he was doing. You do it at the Six Nations as well. No, you do that during the summer tour, the autumn nations. That's when you do it, because obviously you want to try out new different things. But no, it was a complete disaster. But I hope it never happens again. I just don't know what's going on. It's just, it really shows how scrambled all the Welsh coaches are. It's just completely bonkers. And it was no wonder why, the kicking game worked well for England, because they would just give it to Rees-Zammit and England would just hound him.
I think the only positive from the entire game is that I think Dan Edwards is a lot more confident and competent in that scrum half position, because let's take this back to a year ago, or a bit more than a year ago, in that opening time, another bloodbath against another title contender, against the champions in France. Was it 43-0 away from home? And Dan Edwards had a shocker, to be honest with you. There was no other word for it. He was weak. He was looking quite scared. Serious deer in the headlights moment. You compare that performance to how he performed against England. Wasn't a perfect performance by way, shape, or form. And he's got a long way to really move in terms of his game, particularly when it comes to box kicks, which were quite poor, I thought, throughout the game. But he's growing a lot more in confidence. And for the Welsh team, that is a massive jump. And that's a huge net positive for them to build around Edwards, wherever he ends up, moving from Ospreys to another region, probably Cardiff, because it makes sense.
Most likely, yeah.
But they can build around Edwards as a 9, and I think that's a good, bright spark going forwards, if there are any bright sparks to take from this, pretty embarrassing loss, because it's one thing to be hammered by England, then it's one thing to be hammered by an English fan base and team who know you're rubbish in the opening game of the Six Nations, with fans leaving 25 minutes before the final whistle. That is a different kettle of fish.
It's just panic. It just mind blows me, because you've never seen that in rugby fans before, and it just made me speechless when I first saw it. But completely understandable, though. You could see how furious those Welsh fans were. The penalty count was stupid. I mean, I don't even want to think about how many. I don't even want to think about how unholy the number of penalties that Wales conceded was. But it was. I think it was nearly 10 with about 25 minutes played. You were sitting there going, "How can you shit penalties this easily?" I mean, it was stupid. The amount of penalties they were conceding, and they were the exact same penalties, exactly in the same place in the red zone. Whilst you've got the forwards trying to punch a hole in the middle, and then it's, let's just get it onto the wing towards Henry Arundel, which I think, what's the actual penalty count? Well, so in the end, it was just 16 penalties by Wales, but about 10 of those came in the first half alone. Genuinely, it was something ridiculous. And you are sitting here going, it's just a breakdown of communication. And I don't know what Wales do from here, because they've got a serious chance of not being bottom. I genuinely think this, and I'm not trying to rage bait you here, Billy. I think there is a chance Wales beat Scotland in this Six Nations. I couldn't agree with you more after that performance against Italy.
But how do you pick yourself back up after this? Because that's the thing that gets me, is that this is going to be a dreadful, dreadful blow to the team morale. Devi Lake admitted it after the match, and saying he sort of pretty much disappointed the whole country. This is a new level of demolition.
I was saying this before. This is by far this is worse than the losses that they've had during their match losing streak and in the autumn. And maybe the South Africa game is probably an exception, but that was just, talk about embarrassment. If you want to look up the definition of embarrassing, just watch that Wales game on Saturday. It was just dreadful. But speaking of the wooden spoon, there is a chance that there could be a wooden spoon decider in Cardiff between Wales and the woeful Scotland. Oh my God, that was the worst performance I have ever seen under a Scotland team. Just ever. Just outplayed easily by the Italians. And if I'm sick to death as well of hearing, the weather, it was the weather, poor weather. Shut. No, it was a poor performance by every single Scotland player from 1 to 23. They have got to take accountability for their actions. Italy, well done, lads. you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You've got a quality side, and you did it without Capuzzo, which is quite something. When I saw the team sheet, I thought we might have a chance. No, of course not. Not when Brex and Menoncello are in the center. No. And what are lineouts? We've forgotten how to do lineouts. It was just. But my big question is, though, was Townsend correct in starting Jamie Doby, Kyle Stain, and Tom Jordan as the back three over Darcy Graham, Duan van der Merwe, and Blair Kinghorn? That's what I'm trying to ask myself since that game. Is just, was it correct? Because Duhan and Darcy, yes, haven't been perfect with Edinburgh, but I still think that they still should be starting for Scotland, because they always seem to really turn it on when they're wearing the Scotland jersey. But Blair Kinghorn's an absolute shocker. Like, I know I said before that I don't enjoy watching him at 10, but I'd rather have him as the replacing 10 at least. Like, oh my goodness me. And I couldn't even, and listening to Sione Tuipulotu after that match, him constantly going, What was that? Sorry, you could tell that he was just not himself after that game. He was just, he lost it. I think he genuinely just lost it. But
and also, this is the same Sione Tuipulotu who was pretty adamant in the days before. Oh, this is the best Scottish squad I've ever played in my career. You know, it might be a cliche, but I genuinely think this is the best squad we've ever had. Every single year it happens. Oh, we've got a great squad. Then you lose. You lose a game you should not be losing, or you end up dropping points somewhere. And then it ends up becoming that joke of Scotland saying they've got the best squad again for the fifth time running. They've said that line. I mean, think of a new narrative spin at this point. I mean, it could be worse. I mean, it could be worse because you might have your head coach pretty much nearly in line for a job at the Premiership at the end of the season. But, you know, that's all speculation, clearly. And he has, and Gribble Townsend has, for reference, strongly denied that he is going to take over at Newcastle after the exit of Dickens. But we already know that Townsend has an advisory role at the club, so it's not a ridiculous insinuation. But just so there we are clearing it, he has strongly denied it. We'll wait and see.
Before, though, we have seen this before. Eddie Jones, Australia, 2023. I'm 100% committed to Australia. I'm 100% committed to Australia. Oh, I've left. Oh, where is it? Oh, where am I going now? Japan, the team that I denied that I was going to. It's just, I just couldn't. I honestly could not be bothered listening to Townsend after that match because I knew it was going to be the same stuff. And I was right. It's the same stuff he says. And I just think at this point, he's not motivating the players. I really think he's not motivating them at all. And I think this is just adding on to more reasons why he should just go. I just don't think that he's doing well at all. I know I said this in the last episode, but I'll keep on saying it until he leaves. And it's just unbelievable. It's just, how can you fall this far down? I mean, the World Cup was bad enough, but this is on another level. And it's no wonder why I'm so worried about the Wales match, because just looking at how Wales were at home under Steve Tandy, yes, they weren't perfect, but they actually showed a good attack, which I think they'll absolutely do against Scotland. I think they can expose Scotland's weak defence and just easily run over them.
And on the Italian side, I think firstly, Paolo Garbisi once again steering the ship, going for some drop goals in the driving rain, which is quite good fun to see, actually. I mean, not often.
Good on him. Good on him. Well done, Garbisi.
He had a great performance, I think, and from the tee, he was fairly successful. Lewis Liner, once again, is proving why he's the next big player for Italy.
That first try.
Unbelievable athleticism. So good.
We had the Thomas Ramos assist try. You know, the one that I speak of, the infamous kick that that got, I think it was Bielberry who scored the try, and just I was saying to myself, that's pretty much up there as the try of the tournament, and we've already got another absolute banger with Lewis Langer. It's just absolutely fantastic to see though how much Italy have grown, because like, yes, I'm annoyed that we lost, but I can't help but feel happy for the Italians. Like, there was a time when during their match losing streak, I felt so sorry for them. They were just getting thumped every time, and then that win over Wales in 2022 was just so good to see. And I'm just happy for them, and it's also nice to see that. I know Wales are in the dumps, but if Wales can just bounce back and Italy maintain this form and Scotland just improve a little, we could have probably one of the most competitive Six Nations tournaments. And I don't think that that's far away. I really don't. Just as long as Wales and Scotland just, get their head out of the sand, it should be fine.
Yeah, Liner was also instrumental to that second try, basically batting it back towards Menoncello to race into a 2-score lead. It was in the end.
12-0.
I know.
I've never seen anything like it with Italy.
Yep. Unbelievable. Driving rain in Rome, absolutely apocalyptic rain, which became the joke for basically the rest of the match, was everybody sliding about, and it just became a proper old school rugby match in conditions that some modern players might have phoned home to see if they could get out of jail free card to not play in, really. But you have to say both teams, I thought, actually managed the conditions quite well, because I think it's quite easy in that scenario to play pretty heavy attritional rugby. You still saw the ball getting thrown about a fair bit. Monty Uardi definitely trying his luck a lot of the time for the Italians. Who do you think managed the conditions better out of the two? Do you think it was Italy or Scotland? Because I was trying to figure out who sort of rose to the challenge more.
It is a tough question, but upon just watching, just the highlights, I think Italy, because I was watching Finn Russell and I was just like, the rain is his kryptonite. He didn't know what to do with that rain, because he couldn't do any of his, fancy long passes or anything, because from Russell's point of view, it just felt like he was going, oh, all right, best not pass, otherwise it could slip and we'll just make more mistakes. He just couldn't hack it. And you just see Garbisi, and it was, the rain just meant nothing to him. I mean, I actually saw before I jumped on here, I actually saw a fantastic image which pretty much summed up the two fly halves. And it was a picture of Russell in Garbisi's pocket. And I was just like, yeah, that sums it up pretty much, of the two fly halves performance. And it was just, I mean, it's going to be interesting because Scotland have got England next, and they always seem to turn up against England, and it's against Merrifield. I don't think we'll win that game, but maybe we could see some improvement. But it's just, it's hard to say after that performance. It's just, I mean, I was having flashbacks to the infamous 2007 game between Scotland and Italy. 21-0 in, what was it, 7 minutes or something. It was just, I was having flashbacks to that. I thought, oh yeah, this is probably how it's going to end up. But no, Italy, you absolutely deserved it. If I'm going to declare this now, if Scotland get the wooden spoon for the final episode, I'm wearing an England shirt.
Now that would be a beautiful sight, and that is massive.
You heard me.
Massive wager.
I will go to Sports Direct and I will purchase an England top. I will wear it if Scotland get the wooden spoon. That is what's going to happen, because this is how furious I am just with this Scotland team. So Scotland, you better not let me down here. I've declared it. However, if Scotland do avoid the wooden spoon, I'd wear a Scotland top and just be happy for once.
On that note, come on, Cymru, because I want to see that. But final sort of stato heaven. 5 lost lineouts for Scotland over the fixture, with 64% possession and 61% of territory. 200 more meters carried, but less meters gained by Scotland compared to Italy. It's just so many stats that jump out to you and just make for terrible reading. Less penalties for Scotland. Italy making 3 times as many tackles, but missing nearly as many as Scotland. So the proportion of tackles, about 1 in 5 Scottish tackles, or 1 in 6 Scottish tackles even were missed, which I think just sums up the level of defence that there was going on, even if they were making less tackles. Workhorses of the Six Nations getting 4 points, and also bonus points, which is the important thing now, isn't it? A bonus point for Scotland, a losing bonus point, just the 4 for Italy, which I mean, it won't be a pointless campaign for Scotland. That's guaranteed. But it's still a must win against Wales. What were you going to say? Sorry, Billy.
No, I was going to say just you spot on with the stats, and it just felt like another fixture between Italy and Scotland. It's never been perfect for either side. It's always been scrappy, and the scrappier it gets, the more thrilling it gets. I think it's one of the more underrated fixtures as well, just of how like entertaining it can be, and it really was that game. I mean, the rain sort of dampened. Literally dampened a few people's, mainly Scotland fans' hopes, but it was just, I couldn't believe it. You okay there?
No. Excuse me. No, you're right about that. Let's go to the opener. Let's go to Ireland against France.
Oh my poor Celtic cousins. Oh dear.
Where do you start? Do you start on Ireland or do you start on France?
I think
I think we start with the Irish. The Irish is the more interesting story here. We know the French are good at rugby. That's no question. We know they play. We know they do jouer. But the Irish had quite possibly an awful performance. And this was, I think, one of the most disappointing performances. I think more disappointing than the Welsh performance, actually, in my opinion. This was more disappointing. So many areas to improve on. I'll first give you the kicking strategy failed. Totally failed. It collapsed like a house of cards.
Yep.
Contestable kicks just didn't happen. That was the aim. It just didn't happen. And Prendergast was picked over Crowley, was picked over Harry Byrne as well. He didn't really know when to put up a box kick, didn't know when to kick to touch, and also wasn't comfortable kicking under pressure. For the second French try, they are camped on their own dead ball line. And he's got maybe a second to at least kick into touch, maybe get to 50 metres out. And he decides to give a hospital pass to his teammate to his right, and they get tackled, dead ball zone, goal line drop out. France try a minute later, and that's 14-0 in about 14 minutes, pretty much. Prendergast just did not perform, which is no surprise if you've been following his provincial record at Leinster, where he hasn't been performing. It's been Harry Byrne. Secondly, line out was poor, but poor again. The scrum was under pressure, which is no real surprise given the fact that they're missing the key names. They're missing Porter, and Sheehan was the only real experienced head within that front row as it was. But the scrum was just being overpowered almost immediately. It was just, pretty much done and dusted by that point. Just so much going on. And then I was also slightly confused by the back three, because I wasn't seeing much of any line breaks being made at all.
No, I don't recall a single one. I really don't.
I mean, I think that Ireland caught their first contestable kick at the 60th minute. I think I saw. It was such a disappointing performance, and the result is flattering, not because Ireland played better in the second half, but because France knew they'd won the game and thought, you know what, let's just coast, because they were allowed to coast because the Irish were never pushing that hard in the first place. I'd be very scared as an Irish fan right now. I'd be very scared because I think that it looked like a team that had just ignored the lessons from the autumn and thought, well, we'll just play the same way that we have been for the last 3 years. When you're missing more than half of that team, you're missing more than half of that team that are in the 2023 quarterfinals.
Quite a few Lions are missing in that team. Yep.
Yeah, you need to, I think, stop playing rugby like Leinster because you're not Leinster, and two, figure out that you can't just rely on star names all the time. This is a case of playing as a team. And whilst I've got sympathy for players like Luffman, for example, in the front row, it's just clear that they have not done enough work in developing younger players. And the thing that scares me about it is that, this was what did Wales. What did Wales was we're going to have, Alan Wynne-Jones being captain until he's about 80 years old, and then we're gonna pass it off to somebody just as old after him. And you've got Dan Bigger who was just about to move to the Pro D Dirt, and then he's moving to start at 10 for Wales. This was what did Wales was basically we weren't developing young talent.
No,
it's
really
kind of happening in Ireland now. And I'm thinking, is this the start of the slow decline? Have we seen the golden era already?
I mean, I feel like I've seen this before with Ireland. This happened under Joe Schmidt. I think I said this in the last episode. They go up, they go up, they go up. Then something happens. Oh dear, we've gone back to plan number one, or stage one essentially. And you could argue that yes, some Irish players were missing, and it definitely wasn't going to help. But I just think overall it's inexcusable. There was a camera zooming in on Joe McCarthy. He just looked tired, and this was, I think, in 25 minutes in, he just looked tired and just did not look like he wanted to play. And I'm going, where's the Joe McCarthy I saw in Australia? That absolute towering second row that was just being an absolute nightmare for the Aussies. And it's just, and Sam Prendergast, I completely agree with you, Joseph. I think it should not be him as the starting 10. And over Harry Byrne and Jack Crowley is just unbelievable. I mean, Jack Crowley came on and it was just too late. It was just too late. And he did okay. He wasn't the worst player. He definitely tried his absolute best to try and gain momentum for Ireland, but too late. Too late. Very much. Yeah, it was just absolutely hopeless. But France,
Ireland's got to beat England. They've got to beat England now, and that is the worst. That's the worst kind of mentality to take into a game at Twickenham, where you must win, and then you're walking on eggshells the entire time. It's a terrible start, and it does make you realise that how much of this is because Farrell was gone last year. How much of this is because Farrell has been not as present, perhaps. I think that's something to say as well.
It's definitely difficult because we've seen it with Warren Gatland when he left for the Lions. But this is back when he was coaching Wales. And I think 2017 was a prime example when he left to go and start doing the Lions for the 2017 tour for New Zealand. Wales just declined under Rob Howell. You could argue that, yes, that was 2013 when they won the Six Nations without him, but 2017 is definitely just a good example of it. And Wales, I think, finished 5th that year in the Six Nations. So, it could be that maybe Andy Farrell's just got to rebuild Ireland. And what I hate though is I know I say Townsend out, but between you and me, I think it's justifiable. Irish fans, I've seen quite a few already kick off that Andy Farrell should leave. Really? Hold your horses here. This is the same man that helped the Lions win their first series in 12 years. we've got to, I think just steady on. I think give him till the World Cup, and then we'll see what happens. But that's just ridiculous. I think that's just Irish fans being too harsh there. And yeah, I think Andy Farrell, I think with Ireland he's done a fine job, and every great manager or coach and just has a hiccup. And that was probably one of his few hiccups.
Yeah, it's just a hiccup, and I it's just that's silly talk. That's silly talk.
It's ridiculous.
Him. On to the contenders then. So France, clear winners, 36 to 14 against Ireland. Obviously, we've already talked about the fixture, but England thumping Wales 48 to 7, 29 to 0 up at the break. Key players are now starting, and your key protagonists for this title fight are starting to shape up. Henry Arundel gets a hat-trick on his Six Nations debut. In fact, his Six Nations debut in the England shirt, having returned to Bath from the top 14 in the French league, and performing superbly well, both in aerial situations and also carrying the ball. Unbelievable work from him. You've got George Ford once more just shepherding the flock with his kicks and really showing game management skills, which I think were lacking from a lot of English performances, particularly towards the end of last season when everyone was just playing basically freestyle rugby for the sake of it. And if it wasn't freestyle rugby, they were playing painfully boring Borthwick ball, which I think that it's quite nice to see that Borthwick ball has developed a bit, because you had certain players wanting to push the boat out a bit, but then they'd be drowned by a sea of Borthwick ballers, which was just basically carry, which is not fun to watch, but it wins matches. And then on the French side, Atisobe had a great turnout. I think Louis Biabere is undoubtedly deserving of top as the try scoring award winner. Thomas Ramos is showing his absolute confidence from the team. And also I think you saw a real step up in the front row. I thought that actually this was a really important game for the hooker, for Julien Marchand, to really prove that he is that glue for the front row, because obviously we now won't see Winnie Antonio in that front row. And I think you really saw Julien Marchand stamping his mark on that sort of leadership role in the front row. It's not to say that Jean-Baptiste Gros or Dorian Aldegheri weren't showing leadership qualities, but I think you really saw him proving why he's been there for so long, not only with some pretty strong lineouts that were near enough unbeaten, but also just as a cool head. I thought it was a really clinical performance by France, a deserved win, and also you've got to hand it to the French, because I think only they could make a Thursday night fixture that entertaining to watch. When I say the French, I mean the fan base. I mean the punters.
That national anthem, no music, just the Stade Francais, just all, or the Stade de France, sorry, all just kicking off. Just in the anthem, it was brilliant.
I don't think Thursday evenings work in many other places, if you ask me. If you took Thursday night to the Aviva, bit flat. If you took a Thursday night to Twickenham, it could be all right. If it's a decent game, if it's an England Ireland or England Wales, I think that's good. Millennium could make it work if they weren't shipping 45 points or how much was they shipped against England. But I think the French will always consistently create a good atmosphere. And I think that if we are going to have midweek games, we need to remember which league in European rugby right now is making midweek rugby so special to watch. I mean, I'm going to say Buck Super Rugby because that's what I report on. But then secondly, I'm going to say the Pro Nidda. and I'm going to say the Pro D2 that is
Mm-hmm.
making midweek rugby a destination event.
Oh, it's so fun to watch.
We must follow that blueprint. We must follow that blueprint because it was superb to watch, and it also, I think, made me realise that we need to think more about social media and when we're timing matches are going on, and we're not putting a fixture on 3:00 on a Saturday, slap bang in the middle of the Premier League and Liga and all of the football leagues, Serie A, and so on, because people have only got so much time to think about sport in their lives with day jobs and people to care for. It's I love it. I do. It's I'm going to pose a question, and I'm just going to give you the floor, and this will probably end the episode. Adverts came in. Now, adverts were coming in during scrum time. I've seen advocates for and advocates against. I've seen certain individuals, I've seen players and writers say, I love a scrum. This is demeaning the beauty of a scrum. I've seen some players saying, actually, some people saying that was all right. It was boring anyways. And if it means that rugby is free to air, I'll take it. What's your view? Because I know that you reacted with some fury when the first ad came up in the French.
I was not happy.
And I'm guessing that hasn't changed.
I just think that it's just unnecessary. You get plenty more. You get plenty of ads in, before at half time, and then after the game, after it's all done. I just think it's a little bit unnecessary. And, I think if it happens at every scrum, what if it's a scrum that leads to a try? And just the ads are just in the way of just ruining that moment. It's just, I don't like it. Please put all the matches on the BBC, please. Because they don't put ads like that, or they could do. They could put a trailer for their upcoming series. That'll probably later get cancelled. But anyway.
Yeah, but this is the thing though. Would you rather have adverts, or it gets chucked onto TNT behind the paywall, or Premier Sport?
It's a tough one. I can see where you're coming from with that. It's just, I think it was just because during the Ireland game, I completely forgot that ads were going to be jumping up to our screens during scrums, and someone actually. I saw someone say, right, give Steven Gerrard a shout because he'll know what to do, because we saw it in the 2010 World Cup where they accidentally, the Football World Cup, I should say, where they accidentally played an advert and Steven Gerrard scored a goal. And I'm fearing it's going to be like that. An ad pops up, we're going to miss this stellar try, and that was from a scrum, and we've seen that happen before. And and in the last minute, it could be something really intense, and then there's an own gets in the way. I just think it's unnecessary, in my opinion. But Freeview TV's at it again.
Yeah,
but
we'll wait and see how that goes. I mean, but before we head off, I want to get score predictions quickly. I'll go first because I actually, I suggested score predictions in the first place. I think that we see. I think we see Ireland with a bonus point by, I'll say, 14. I think so. It's at the Aviva. I think that Ireland by 2 scores, closer than you'd expect. Scotland versus England at Murrayfield. England win this by a bonus point, and I think that they win that by, I'm going to say 24 points. I think it's going to be an absolute hammering. I think it's going to be a hammering. I think it'd be quite scary for Mr. North Lewis, indeed. And then Wales versus France, even more scary. I think that this is France by 31. I think this is going to be another hammering as well. Not as bad as England one. France get a bonus point. I don't think Wales get a bonus point, nor do I think that Scotland get a bonus point either. I think Italy could get a try bonus point. So I'm going to say that Italy get 1 point, and then that would get Italy onto 5 from 2 games. But I think Scotland and Wales, I think they will remain where they are.
I think between Ireland and Italy, I'm going to say Ireland, they do get a bonus point. I agree with you. But they win it by 17.
Okay.
I think Italy will get 2 tries in, but I don't see them getting a try bonus. It's hard to do that at the Aviva Stadium. But I say this because I think Andy Farrell will sort of just work on just what went wrong and obviously pretty much everything. But I think it will work out that Italy will give Ireland a tough showing. England and Scotland. Scotland, they do like to turn up against England. And I'm going to say it, England to win by 5. And yes, a bonus point. I think it could be quite a try thriller. I'm not trying to be biased or anything, Joseph. I'm trying to have some hope. I'm trying my absolute best because I've just said the biggest forfeit of my life. But I think we've seen this before. Scotland, yes, there are matches they play terrible, but for some reason they love turning up against England, and it's at Murrayfield. So I'm saying it there. I'm calling it a try fest, but I do think England will get a bonus point, and Scotland are losing bonus. Maybe they might get a try bonus along with the losing bonus, but I think England will get 5 tries to Scotland's 3. And the Wales game. Surely I'm not that delusional. I'm not a Welsh fan. I'm not that delusional.
He says.
France v Wales. I think France will probably win it. Ooh, tough one. I'm going to say they're going to win it by 28 points. I think you look at Wales during the autumn. They showed some decent, form. Well, I say decent form. Like they had a decent attack against Argentina and New Zealand. Maybe they could bring it against France because sometimes France show a couple of cracks when they're away. So I think Wales could get a try or 2, but I think France is just going to absolutely storm it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go just over 40 points. But I'm going to say France with a bonus point and win it by 28. Those are my predictions, and I am very, very confident that we're going to get the win.
Let's wait and see if the positivity that Billy's been having in his bowl of Weetabix is genuine, and it's not just
my bowl of Weetabix. My personal trainer will rejoice.
Yeah, and it's not just copium for the Scottish fans to not get hammered by the best English side that we've seen for at least the last 5 years. You could listen to other podcasts within the network on Spotify and YouTube. The Six and Out podcast has just relaunched with T20 World Cup going on. Scotland, obviously, late entrance into the tournament. England, as we record this, have only just pulled through against Nepal, which is definitely not worrying at all for me as a cricket fan. But we'll wait and see how that goes and whether or not we do get scalped, a bit like how Netherlands did to us in 2007. But on that note, enjoy the rest of your rugby. If you're a Scottish fan, I hope that you are going to watch the match with some English fans, and that if you lose to England, be prepared for the jibes. And I also heartily wish Welsh fans the best when they have to sail back home on the River of Tears after being thumped by the French. On that note, have a good afternoon, morning, or evening, whenever you listen to this, and I'll see you soon.